Okay. When you think social media, do you also think danger? When used excessively, social media is harmful to the mental health of teenagers and young adults. We all know the benefits of social media. It's a great way to keep up with friends at different colleges and family that lives across the country. Today, I will tell you about a few of the dangers of spending too much time on your accounts. First, excessive use of social media can lead to depression. Depression is a serious mental illness that affects countless teenagers each year. While there is no hard data that says social media causes depression, there are many studies that show a strong correlation between the two. According to an article by Caroline Miller titled, "Does Social Media Cause Depression?" Studies show that, quote, teenagers who spend the most time on social media platforms were shown to have from 13 to 66% higher rate of reported depression than those who spent the least amount of time. This shows that a correlation does exist. Miller goes on to say that one reason the correlation seems more than coincidental is that an increase in depression occurred in tandem with the rise of smartphone use. In her article on social media and depression, Katie Hurley talks about a study done by the University of Pennsylvania. The study showed that decreasing social media use leads to decrease in depression. This study is just more evidence of correlation between social media use and depression. I also found an article titled 5 Ways to Use Social Media to Fight Depression. A major way that social media can help combat depression is by keeping in touch with friends. Social media is a great way to keep in touch with friends and family that live far away. Most of my family lives on the West Coast, and personally I use Snapchat to keep in touch with my cousin. Another way the article highlights using social media to fight depression is to focus on, quote, quality over quantity. It is important that you don't lose yourself in your social media accounts by focusing on the number of your followers. Instead, focus on the quality of friendships that you have over social media. Second, excessive use of social media can lead to anxiety. Anxiety is the most common mental illness and affects as many as 1 in 3 teenagers, according to an article by the American Academy of Pediatrics. According to Sarah Fader in her article, Social Media, Obsession, and Anxiety, there is a disorder for those that get anxious when they cannot check their accounts. This disorder is called social media anxiety disorder. Fader reports that it is similar to social anxiety, and it involves experiencing severe anxiety after being away from their accounts for just a few minutes. One symptom is lying about time spent on social media. This disorder can lead to a social media addiction. There are many risks associated with social media addiction, such as eye strain. Fader also mentions the physical illnesses that can result from a social media addiction, including heart disease and malnutrition. Social media can lower your self-esteem, which can increase anxiety. We tend to post about what Isaranon Yokfa refers to as your ideal self. This means that we typically only post what we want others to see. Yokfa also said, given that people are likely to share positive things in their daily lives, heavy social media users may have a higher tendency to witness a large amount of positive experiences and may perceive others to be in better situations than themselves. In other words, constantly seeing all your friends post pictures of them having fun could cause you to see them living a better life than yours and could hurt your self-esteem. Another result of seeing all your friends' photos is experiencing FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. As you see all those pictures of your friends being happy and having fun, this could lead to feelings of loneliness or being left out. According to a report done by the Royal Society for Public Health titled #Status of Mind, this is why FOMO is associated with anxiety. Third, excessive use of social media can lead to suicide. Cyberbullying-related suicides have increased in recent years. An excessive amount of time on social media can lead to suicidal thoughts and behaviors. According to an article by David Luxton, Jennifer June, and Jonathan Farrell titled Social Media and Suicide, A Public Health Perspective, studies show that, quote, the prevalence of internet users was positively correlated with general population suicide rates. In other words, many of those that committed suicide also spent an above-average amount of time on social media. Because the need for this information is relatively new, there are no studies that can prove causation, but many that do show a strong correlation. A study done in Canada by the Suicide Prevention Resource Center showed that youth who use social media were at an increased risk of being cyberbullied, which led to an increased risk of suicide attempts. The results of the study say that if we can lower cyberbullying among teenagers, suicidal behavior could also be lowered. There have been programs and organizations developed with the goal of suicide prevention. Many different social media platforms feature suicide prevention accounts. The article Social Media and Suicide, A Public Health Perspective, found that more than 77,000 people follow the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention's Facebook page. It also found more than 580 groups on Twitter and 385 blog profiles on blogger.com designated as suicide prevention. Suicide prevention and awareness can also be spread through pop culture. For example, Logic released a song that was titled with the number of the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. The song shows people that life is worth living and suicide is not the answer. In conclusion, while there are many reasons to use social media, there are also many harmful side effects of spending too much time logged on. Today I told you about the many dangers that are associated with the overuse and abuse of social media. We each have to define how much social media is too much for ourselves and be careful to not go over that amount. Remember to take care of yourself first. Make the conscious effort to limit your social media presence. Spend less time texting, commenting, and tweeting, and spend more time face-to-face with your friends.